automation is nothing but a process where you're going to reduce the human interference and let the machine do by itself. Like if you see the word automation, it's been derived from the Greek word which is auto and mathos. Okay, so auto is basically by itself and mathos is moving. So any machine which is going to move by itself with minimum interference from human, we are going to define it as automation. Clear?
Okay.
Okay. So I'm just going to share the first slide where I just got the definition of the terms. We are going to look into industrial automation and control system. So let's just get to know the definition of what automation is and what the control means, and then we proceed with the rest of the things. Is the screen visible to all of you?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you look into it here, the general definition for automation, which is given that automation is going to be a set of technologies that result in the operation of machines and systems without significant human intervention and achieves performances superior to manual operation. What does this mean? So when you're going to say you're going to automate something, you're going to make sure that the system operates or the machine operates by itself with minimum human intervention. Okay? Can you guys think of examples where you're going to have machines working by itself without or let's say with minimum human interference? Can you guys think of some examples in the day-to-day life?
Yeah, any packaging industry?
I'm saying day-to-day life in our homes. Why do we go into the industry when we're just seeing the definition? Day-to-day life.
Washing machine.
Washing
Any
machine.
washing machine or
So what do these, okay fine, you guys have come with an example of washing machine in the day-to-day life. So what has the washing machine done to your life? You make a chocolate bar? Pardon?
Like it acts according to our instructions.
It acts according
Whatever.
to your instructions, okay? Then?
it has
Then
reduced the human effort, right? It has reduced the human intervention. Instead of doing manually, it does the same kind of effort with minimal human intervention.
Minimal human intervention, it reduces the human effort, and
Yeah.
what is the next thing?
elevators.
Elevators.
Okay. And above all, in the definition itself, it says it gives you a better performance. Right? When we talk about machines, washing machine, you may not feel the huge difference. But if you take the same process to an industry, at that time you're going to see the difference. That is, you're going to see how a human or a manual process working and the automated process working, what is going to be the performance effect on the output of your product. Yeah? And that's why here in this definition, they've come up with the term which says, without significant human intervention, and it achieves performance superior to manual operation. So you're going to have manual operation, whereas the machine, when it's going to work, it's going to give you a superior or a better performance or a better output. Okay? So you guys have understood the meaning of the term automation, right? So we're just going to have some technologies that the machine is going to work all by itself with minimum human interference, and the end result is that whatever output you're trying to bring out, it is going to be having a better performance or a better efficiency. Yeah? Is the definition clear?
Yes.
Yeah. And then coming into the term control. Now what does control mean to any of you? Anyone? Guys, a small request. Please make the session more interactive. If it is not going to be interactive, with time you guys are going to get drained of your energy because it's already evening.
Well, control would be referred to as the ability to manipulate um, systems or several items in order to achieve a purpose using like switches or some kind of control wiring device.
Okay. Okay, great. Anyone else with another definition or any other understanding of yourself?
Control would be the ability to alter the mechanism according to your requirement.
Okay. Can I just think of an example where control happens in day-to-day life again?
You can think of your cruise control in your car.
Okay. How would you say that? How would you say the control is happening?
We would set it to the desired speed what we want, and we would, I mean, we will take the we will not accelerate our vehicle and just set to the desired speed what we want.
Okay.
And no matter it's a hilly area or a non-trodden area, you know, the speed will be constant no matter of how the road is.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, please. Anyone else with any definition? Okay. So most of us have the centralized heating system in our houses.
HVAC.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, right? So what happens in the centralized heating system? We're going to have a temperature set. So that's going to be the desired output that we're going to be requiring. Clear? And now, to achieve this desired output, we're going to have a system, or we're going to have a switch which is going to get activated every time the temperature goes below the desired temperature, and the heat is going to be provided, and then once the desired temperature is reached, it is again going to turn off the switch. A simple example of a control mechanism. Yeah, I have a desired output. I have to alter the input accordingly so that my output remains constant. So this mechanism where I'm going to alter or I'm going to adjust my input or other related conditions to make sure I have a continuous or a desired output, we are going to define it as control. Yeah? Yes? So these are the two terms that we're going to look into. Again, the first one is automation, where we're going to see, we're going to try and reduce the human interference into the process, and we're going to make sure that the process is going to have a desired output and the output is maintained as the required condition. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah. So clear with these two terms?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So now when we say the automation of control, they're going to be used on something which is called as process. Right?
Right.
So the next thing is, what is a process? Hello? Anyone can give me a definition for the term process?
I would say process is a stage that's in between the beginning of a
Like,
an. Go ahead. Sorry.
like it can be a sequence of instructions.
Okay. Then
Yeah, I'll go with that.
process, just like what I said, I have an output. A set of conditions have to be executed one after the other so that my final output is going to be reached or the desired output is attained. Yeah. So for this, I'm just going to show you the next slide where I've put in or I've taken the example of a simple process which happens in the industry. And from this, we try to understand what does the process means or what are the sequences that are going to happen so that you get the desired output. Okay? Yes? So here if you look in, I've taken the example of a industry. The industry, here what they're going to do is they're going to give a continuous hot water supply or let's say water at the required temperature to all the cleaning stations. So this is just a part of a big industry. Yeah. In this industry, we're just going to look into a particular section which is just going to give you water at a desired temperature to your various stations, cleaning stations. Okay. So the next slide is visible to all of you, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here you can see the hot water outlet. So this is my desired output. So this particular output, I want it to be at a defined temperature. So I'm going to, let's say I'm going to set the temperature of the water at around 60 degrees Celsius so that the cleaning is efficient. I'm going to use a thermometer over here to keep a continuous check on the temperature. Fine. So this is my desired output. To get this desired output, I'm going to have two inputs. The first one is the cold water supply and the next one is the steam input. Okay. Both the cold water and the steam input is going to be sent into a heat exchanger. In this heat exchanger, the heat from the steam is going to be used to heat the water or bring the temperature of the cold water to the desired output temperature. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Okay. So this particular steps which are happening, we call it as a process. So what is the process? I want a desired output, that is I want the water at a temperature of around 60 degrees Celsius. I'm going to have inputs. So one of the input is cold water inlet and the next one is steam inlet. So these are the two inputs. So what am I going to do? I'm going to manipulate the inputs and I'm going to get my desired output. So this entire sequence or the step-by-step process which happens is what we're going to call it as a process. Okay? Is my explanation enough or you want me to go a bit slow or how is it?
Hey, you're good.
It's fine, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So now,
Yes, fine.
yeah, thank you. So now if you look into this particular process, you're going to again see how the automation and the control is happening. Now if you look at the first picture, that is the diagram A, for the steam, we're going to have a control valve. Okay? So when we're going to say a manually operated process, we're going to have a person who's going to stand or who's going to control the steam input or the steam valve. Okay? So this is the manual operation. wherein the steam inlet is going to be controlled by a human. So what happens over here? The human, he is always going to keep a check on the thermometer. He sees whether the temperature is at the desired temperature. If it is yes, it's fine. If it is not, he has to adjust the valve. That is, if the temperature is less, the valve has to open more, and if the temperature is more, the valve has to be controlled accordingly. So this process wherein the manual control of the valve happens, we're just going to call it as the manual process. Yeah. Now, I have a question for you guys. In this particular process, where we're going to have a manual operation of the steam valve, what do you guys think will be the advantages and the disadvantages? Anyone?
Let me point out the disadvantage here.
Yes, sure.
The man has to be there. He has to stand there. Constantly overwatching the steam valve.
Okay.
It needs the continuous attention.
Sure.
But whereas the advantage is that if there is any fault or if there is any leakage occurring at the site, he can immediately report it to his supervisor.
Okay. So one advantage is you're going to have a person always to be available to monitor the valve and the temperature. And the advantage is in case of any mishappening, he can immediately report it. Yes?
I think so.
Okay. Now, this was just one single process, right? Wherein I just had one valve. Now let me just put in another example. Let's see if you guys can imagine the particular situation. Now there is a tank which is in the industry, which is, let's say, it's almost, you've seen the tanks in the industries, right? The storage tanks.
Yes.
Okay. So these storage tanks, you know how big they are? And if you have to fill in anything into the tank and make sure the tank level is maintained, how many people you think you'll have to be operating for this particular tank patrol if it's a manual operation?
It depends on how many valve and how big the tank is, and
Let's put an approximate height for the tank. What would be the desired height you're going to say? Let's take a huge one, like in our storage industries itself. And going to the number of valves, let's say we're going to have one input valve and one output valve. So how many people are you going to employ over here?
like you said, how many foot tank?
Let's take 100-foot tank.
Okay. Well, I mean, they will all have radios, so probably 3 will be okay.
3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say we have 3 to 4. Okay, fine. Let's say we're going to have one person at the inlet valve, one person at the outlet valve, and one more person who's going to keep a constant monitor on the level of the tank.
Yeah.
Right. Now, looking into this process, where we're going to have a tank filling process, we're going to have 3 people working on it. Okay. And let's always remember that the industries are 24/7 industries, which means you're going to have almost 3 sessions working, or let's say 3 individual sections working, or 3 timings, whichever way we have to define it. So we're going to have almost 9 people working on one single time filling process. Yeah. So in this one single tank filling process, you're going to have 9 people. Now, what are the advantages in this tank filling process?
You mean the advantages or disadvantages?
The advantages. Let's go with the advantage first.
Advantage, I would go, well, there are people who are physically present to note any errors or if anything goes wrong, they can signify or alert any response team or take any quick actions.
So let's,
because they're there to see it.
Yes, let's put it in a simple term, like let's say employability.
Yeah, that would be an either. Actually, job opportunities would be no.
Opportunity. So let's say for a single tank filling process, we're going to have 9 people working round the clock. So we're going to have employability. Now, what are the disadvantages?
Labor cost. The cost of labor.
Cost of labor, then?
Risk.
Risk factor.
Yeah.
How many of us think that everyone is going to stand at the same position and make sure the process is going to happen continuously without taking break? We are humans. We always need a break. And this is a filling process which is going to require a continuous monitor. So in case any person is going to take a break, or if there is any miscommunication, you know what is going to happen to the process, right?
Yes.
The output is not going to be as it has always been desired. Yeah? So when we look into a process which is manually operated, one advantage we have is the job opportunity. But the next thing is we see the disadvantages have been taking more, that people have started looking for options wherein we can reduce the manual interference and make sure the system controls the output by itself. It is in this condition where the automated process has started. And that's what you can see it in the next slide over here. Yeah. So what we've done over here is, instead of the human controlling the valve, we're going to place in a controller which is going to get, what are the conditions that the controller is going to have? The first thing is the desired temperature that has to be maintained for the water, and the next thing is what is the next thing?
The level?
The controller temperature, the controller level, then it is always going to have a feedback from the output. Yeah. So one of the input is the hot water temperature that is required to be maintained, and the next one is we're going to have a continuous output. So what is the controller going to do? It is always going to compare the output water temperature with the desired input temperature. It checks. If it is fine, the valve is not disturbed. If it is less, if it is more, the actuator will be accordingly adjusted. So now what happens over here? Minimum human interference. And the next thing is the control process. It happens in such a way that the temperature of the output water, it is maintained as such. You say 60 degree, it maintains at 60 degree. Here, and the place where you say the controller is what we're going to call it as the automation. Here, I'm just going to replace a human with a device which is going to perform the same set of instructions that a human would have performed. It is going to check the input temperature, it is going to check the output temperature, compare both of them, and then it is going to control the actuator whether it has to be opened or it has to be closed or it has to be maintained. Here, the usage of the device controller and maintaining the output water at the desired temperature is what we're going to call as the automation process. Now clear?
It's clear.
Okay. So now what are the advantages with this particular system? The automated system where we're going to have a controller.
Less human intervention.
Less human intervention.
Labor cost.
It will be more accurate.
Accuracy. That's one thing that we had in the definition, which says achieves performances superior to manual operation. So what happens? You say this is the temperature that I will want the output to be. It always maintains at the temperature. So that's the first advantage of an automated system. You get a precise output, or the desired output is always maintained, which means the efficiency and quality of your output product is always maintained. Okay, then what's the next advantage? Okay, let's just go ahead and go back to the tank filling process that we're talking about. Now tell me, what are the automations you're going to have in that particular process? What are the conditions you're going to control in the tank filling process, where we had an inlet valve, outlet valve, and a person monitoring the level of the tank. So what are the automations you're going to have in this particular process?
Control valve for the inlet, and temperature transmitter, temperature sensing element, pressure, flow, level indicator on the tank for the low and high, and now the output will be a control valve as well. Temperature element, pressure element, and flow. And I guess, I mean, it depends on what the company wants to use. And for the level, it depends on how many devices they want to use on the tank to measure the level. Most of the times, it's based on the company's requirements.
Okay, so what are we going to do in this? The tank filling process, we're going to have a valve that is going to control the input. We're going to have a valve that is going to control the output, and then we're going to have a sensor which is going to measure the level of the tank. Yeah? Is it clear? So we're going to have three conditions: inlet valve control, outlet valve control, and then we're going to have the level control. So what we're going to do is, we're going to give in a set point, a set level as the input to the controller. Then we're going to have the actuators that will be connected to the controller. What happens in this process is, the level sensor, it is going to check the level of the particular tank, and according to the conditions, you are basically going to see whether the inlet valve has to be open or closed. Clear?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what happens over here? The number of people have been reduced, the risk factor has been reduced, the efficiency of the process also goes up. Clear?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So this is basically what we're going to see in the process of automation, where we're going to see the situations which and all can cause risk to the human, where it is not possible for the humans to be present, we're going to check in all these conditions and we're going to see how we can use our electronic equipments and put in the control over there so that the process output can be efficiently controlled. Yeah? Any doubts so far about the terms that we've discussed?
No.
Any doubts?
No.
Okay, fine. So this is basically the definition that we have seen so far. One is the automation, one is the control, and one is the process. So you guys are clear with all the three terms? So the thing we have over here is automation, and then we're going to have control, and then we're going to have process. So if you're clear with these three terms, we can then proceed for the next details. Are we clear with all these terms?
Yeah.
Okay. So now tell me, just a second please. How do you guys find the session?
Interesting.
Interesting.
Interactive.
Yeah, interactive.
So you guys are satisfied with the way the training is going to be conducted? Because henceforth this is how it's going to be conducted.
Okay.
Yeah? Okay. So today being the first day, I just wanted to introduce you guys to these terms and get a better understanding about ourselves and the way I would be training you guys. If you have any kind of feedback, you guys can just give me the feedback. I'll just see how to incorporate all those changes in the next session that we will be having in future. Any feedbacks?
Are we to provide the feedbacks right away, or?
No, it's not the feedback. It's just like how you felt the interaction going on. Was there any problem with the communication or the way the content was delivered? Anything more you expect? Because this being the first class with you guys, I wasn't sure about the caliber of each of you all and what is your expectation. So I just wanted to know what is your expectation and how do you want the classes to move so that we could make it better the next time.
I mean, I believe we already have a curriculum or a handout that like describes how each class is supposed to be taught, and we're like gonna go through the various or through the guide that's issued. So, but however way you choose to, we're open. I'm open with it.
I'm sorry, I didn't get what you were trying to tell.
Okay, I'm sorry. Well, all I was trying to say is, like I'm sorry, I don't have a copy with me, but give me a second. The actual paperwork that kind of gives in detail of how or what we're going to learn from this very program.
Okay.
like from the automation definition and description, and then PLC and DCS and all HMI. Yeah, we're just gonna follow that guideline.
Yeah, follow that.
Yeah, and I mean, you being an instructor, you know, I'm gonna pay attention and listen to what you have to teach, and go with that.
Yeah, I'll be covering all the content in the training material. So that's not the thing. Why I'm asking is the way the deliverance being done to you regarding the topics, the explanation of the content, is that satisfying to you, or has any change that has to be incorporated into it?
I have one question.
Yes, please.
I just want to know whether are you gonna take the further classes,
Yes.
or would there be any? I mean, you're gonna continue from here, or would there be Ranjit
No.
after this?
No, I would be continuing the session for you for this particular topic.
Okay, till the end of session. Is that
Till
right?
the end of the session.
Okay.
So that's the thing,
So,
being the first class, I just wanted to know what is the expectation of the student and whether what the concept what I haven't done much. I've just given you the introduction so that we get an idea of how the classes are going to be in future. So I would be
because I felt I mean this session to be more interactive than the previous one.
okay. Thank you. So we'll make it more interactive with the next time with more questions and more content to be seen.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. I just see 3 students who are interacting throughout the process. What about the rest of them? Hello? So if you guys are satisfied with it, so what I'll do is today I'll end the session now, and tomorrow I'll start the training at the same time, and I'll try to bring in more concepts so that we can understand better about the various topics that we're going to discuss. Would that be fine?
Yeah, no problem.
No problem. So all of you are fine with it?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll end the session for today, where we've just seen the basics of what happens in the particular terms in our future classes, that is the automation, control and process. So tomorrow we'll go ahead again and discuss more into all these topics, and then we'll start looking into each of the content that has been promised to you guys through this training session. Okay?
Okay.
Okay. So we end the class over here, and we meet again tomorrow at the same time.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.